Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson, and I have some amazing, wonderful special guests today, and I am just so thrilled because we have Governor Lamont here with us and Mayor DeVivo, and we're going to talk about his visit where he came to Windham to talk about some of the things that are going on with the minimum wage. And we're very, very thrilled that he's here, and he really appreciates our community and all the things that we're doing. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Susan, great being back. Mayor DeVivo, town's looking pretty good.
It is.
Good leadership.
Thank you. It has a lot to do with leadership on the state level, too, with Susan and you and Lieutenant Governor.
Yeah.
And May, of course.
Of course,
Flexer.
May, and it may
Flexer.
be along. But I am very pleased also to have Mayor DeVivo here with us. And, it's one of the things that I've been saying all along since we've had wonderful people here on the local level, working together on the state level and with the executive branch. We have people who listen to us, and that is so important. People who work together. And I can see the difference in our town because we're all working together so well. And so I just can't thank you enough, Governor Lamont, for being here. And tell us a little bit about why you were here and the increase in the minimum wage and how that's going to help the families and the businesses.
Well, I'll tell you that Susan Johnson and May Flexer and your delegation really helped take the lead on this. And when Susan Beiswitz and I came in the office, the minimum wage was just a little bit over $10. And today we announced that it's going to go from $15 to $15.69 on January 1st. And this is not a cheap state. It's expensive to live here. And especially for our working families, we can make that a little bit easier for them. That's important. On top of raising the minimum wage, which will save you about extra $25 a week, that helps. Again, Susan took a lead as we increased the earned income tax credit. That means you're taking a job, you're earning a working family's a wage, and we're going to get you an extra $50 a month if you apply for the earned income tax credit that goes right on against your paycheck.
You know, Governor, that is so important. The last time I checked the data on that, this town, people were applied, and we got $4 million back to the people in this town. And that, of course, goes to the businesses. It helps people pay for their child care. It helps people get a car repair. It helps people buy more nutritious food. So we are very, very appreciative of that change in the earned income tax credit. And it helps people stay in their housing when the rents go up, right, Mayor?
It really does. You know, that it sounds like a small amount of money, but it's $27 a week more that they'll earn. But that's over $100 a month. It helps people who are on the fringes be able to stay where they live. Deal with showing for work. I also come from the business world, as the governor does, and having employees that make enough money that can show for work on time because their car starts, or they're not thrown off because they had a flat tire, so they can't come to work for like a week because they can't figure out how to get the tire fixed. They just don't have the money. So those things really do help. The small amounts of increases, and I'm really happy to see it. And the $4 million is spent locally, Susan. I mean, people go to Cumberland Farms in the morning. They're spending that money every day, and those are the things that help our community.
So take that job. You're going to be earning a little bit more.
Yes.
If you're eligible for the earned income tax credit, that's an extra $50 a week. If you're more middle class, we've got a 10% tax cut that kicks in on January 1st. That should save you about $25, $50 a week. Little ways we're trying to make life more affordable. Can I tell you how much I love Willimantic?
Yes,
is such
please.
a
Thank
cool
you.
city. I mean, I love it. I love the Boombox Parade. I love Willie Brew. There's more positive energy here. Everybody's got a smile on their face. I love coming here every chance I can.
Well, thank you. We try and keep that positive vibe up. That's one thing about Romantic Willimantic. We have so much vibrancy here, and I think a lot has to do with UConn, the proximity to UConn and the Eastern students and the Connecticut State College system, how much we have so many young people here that were always vibrant and active.
Exactly. We're very thrilled, too, to have our community college back on Main Street. That is a fabulous thing, and it's going to mean more of our students are going to be able to attend community college and get those certifications and get those degrees that they could get, and then go and get jobs that are going to be needed. Because we have how many, Governor? How many open jobs do
We have about 95,000 jobs, a lot of them in this region. It's debt-free community college, so
Thank you.
talk to Susan. We'll make sure you're at the front of the line. You know how you can get that education and get that job and then keep educating in the evenings so you keep going.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I call ourselves an education community because, as Mayor was saying, we have Eastern, we have Quinebaug Valley, we have a Votech school, we have a fire school, we have magnet schools, 2 magnet schools, one Barrows Academy that won a national award for the great job that it's done, and also we have the Arts Academy just up the street that's run by EastCon rather.
Yes, going back to the Connecticut State College, the OQVC, it's on Main Street. If you're interested in attending, every Friday they have a program. I spoke with Elkin today. The man, I'm not so sure Elkin's position is, but he says they want to have. You can show up on a Friday, and hopefully by the end of the day you'll be enrolled and ready to go to college. And you can it's walk in on Fridays, and they're really doing the strength boosted to thing. And you know what you say, Governor, and thank you. This is all under your leadership. Community college is free. You will leave debt free. You will leave. I mean, I went to community college. There's nothing to be ashamed of it. It gets you started to go to Eastern. It was very inexpensive for my wife and myself at the time, so I could afford it. I went to MCC because QVC was in Danielson, but really, it's there to help people, and you shouldn't be afraid of cost. If you're looking for something, you want to be a manager at EB? Go to a community college, and you can be a boss someday.
And you can go for 2 years and get a degree. You
Yeah.
can get a 24-week certificate and be working
Correct.
at EB, then come back in the evening, keep your learning going. There are a lot of
right.
ways to take advantage of it.
That's right.
There are
correct.
huge opportunities. I too am a graduate from Manchester Community College.
Yep.
I had no idea you were mayor.
I was.
And then I went to Eastern after that and law school after that.
I went to Eastern after that, but I didn't get to law school.
Well, you get time.
I'm on my way to Eastern. They're doing well, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Enrollment strong?
Enrollment strong. We, of course, look at Eastern. It's a wonderful place, and it's great to have the students here, and they help us out locally. They're connected with our community, and I understand that we're going to have a nursing school there, which is going to be a wonderful thing, and it's so necessary because after COVID, we realized what a shortage of nurses that we have in all over the state. So it's going to be a wonderful thing that the combination with Hartford Health and Eastern Connecticut State University, having that nursing school there is going to be a fabulous thing.
It's a whole new world. We
It
all
is.
grew up. There were too many people looking for too few jobs, and it was a scramble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Today
Yes.
there's not enough of you out there. We got a lot of jobs, really great jobs. We have a shortage of nurses. We have a shortage of teachers. We have a shortage of EB workers. We need you, and there's an opportunity to get that degree, that certificate, that diploma, and you got a guaranteed job right here in the great state of Connecticut.
Great
Absolutely.
place to work, great place to live.
It is. It is a
is.
great. It is, and this is a wonderful community. I'm so glad you love our community, Governor. It makes me very
Yeah.
happy. Very, very
We
happy.
got the wildest parade around. Is there something in the water here? What's going on?
Well, we have the best water in the state.
Yeah.
We have that. We
We
have
have
a
the-
high quality water. Yes,
We do have the
We
best
really,
water.
Really,
we have
do.
a lot of it too after all those rains.
Yeah, we have one of the biggest watersheds in New
We
England.
do, yes.
Yes.
All the dams are full of, so.
Dams are a little too full these
Oh,
days.
yeah,
a little
we
bit
kind
too
of
You look at
full.
Arizona where they won't allow anybody to build anything
That's
anymore
right.
because they don't have any water.
That's right.
Right.
We have water. That's a big plus for us.
It's huge.
Especially for Wyndham. So if you know anyone that wants to expand their business, we're always we have places that are open and looking for businesses because we are investing in our community as you're investing in our state.
Yeah.
And it's shown what you've done. The
Yes, it does.
success of Connecticut. We're not following the leader. We are the leader now under your leadership. So thank you very
We
much.
are. And we
Keep
have
going, Willimantic. I love being here. Susan,
Thank you.
thank you for having me.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Governor.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's
There
been
you go.
wonderful
Thank you for
having you here.
coming.
Very, very
Thank
great.
you.
Very good. All right. Stay tuned, and we'll have more from Let's Talk About It after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson, and we just finished with a wonderful guest, our governor, Ned Lamont, who was here in town announcing a great thing in terms of our legislation that we've passed and he signed into law, and that is to have the minimum wage go up. And this is the first time that we've had a minimum wage that's been indexed, and it's going to be a great thing for people to be able to afford their homes and buy more food and take care of their little ones. This is a great, great thing. So I'm very, very thrilled. And now to follow up with Governor Lamont, we have our Lieutenant Governor, Susan Bysowitz, who is also here on Monday and has been a wonderful supporter of the things that we need to do here in Windham. So I'm so happy to have you here on the show. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Bysowitz.
Well, thank you so much for having me back again on your show. And the governor and I were very pleased to come to Windham to announce that on January 1st, because I think we should let people know the date, because for those people out there who make the minimum wage of $15 an hour right now, they want to know when they're going to see the $15.69 hit their paychecks, and that's going to be come January 1st, 2024. That's when the additional 69 cents will be added January 1st, 2024.
It's a great thing. It adds a little extra cash, and I just want to say how happy I am that we were able to get that legislation through, and how happy I am that this is going to be in addition to some other wonderful pieces of legislation that have been passed during this last cycle, which also includes the earned income tax credit that's been increased slightly. And I just want to preface this with the fact that the last time I checked, the earned income tax credit brought $4 million back to the town, to the local communities here in Windham, to the businesses here, because that gives the low-income population a chance to fix their cars, buy more food, pay their rent. So this is something that's really important too.
That's a big deal, and we increased in the budget and tax package that we passed in June an increase in the earned income tax credit from 30.5% to 40%. So you're right, it's going to make a very big difference for families, and certainly for families in Windham. And the other thing I think it's important to point out is prior to our increasing the minimum wage gradually over a period of years to get it to the $15 that it is today, and to the $15.69 that it will be in 2024, it was a fight, and it's been a fight in the past. And for a long time, the minimum wage was stagnant. And what's wonderful about the law that we passed in 2019, I know you and Senator Flexer voted for it. What's nice is every year on October 15th, there will be an announcement that will increase the minimum wage. So the one that we just had is tied to employment cost index, and the increase was 4.6%. So moving forward, instead of having to wait for years to have the legislature increase the minimum wage, there's, in essence, an automatic annual cost of living adjustment, if you will, for families. And it's a really big deal, especially now when there's inflation and there's been supply chain issues and so many families are struggling.
Absolutely. This is something that's so important, and it's something I've always thought that we should have, and that is an indexed minimum wage. This should also happen on the federal level, but we won't go there.
Yeah. We can you and I in our jobs can make change. And this is, you mentioned what it means for the earned income tax credit increase means for Windham. Well, raising the minimum wage affects 10% of our state's workforce, 163,000 people.
That's a lot of people. It's
a lot of people. And it's estimated that 61% of the people who make minimum wage are women, and 49% are people of color. So this is really important for families, especially the ones that are headed by women, and there are a lot of families where the female is the major breadwinner, and that female is a minimum wage worker. So this is a really big deal for our state.
I'm really glad you pointed out the fact that this really will help female-headed households and people of color, because this is something that I think doesn't get the recognition that people are working in these jobs for the minimum wage, and the work is very difficult. If you've ever been working in a restaurant or working as a retail person or working in
got to be on your feet all day.
Yes.
Often there are lines of people. That's right. This is work that adult workers do. It's hard work. A lot of people think it's teenagers who have these jobs, but it's not. It's adults. And here's another way to look at it. Yes, there's a lot of women and a lot of people of color who are minimum wage workers. The Center for American Progress estimates that 114,000 children in our state live in households where one worker is making $15 an hour. So that's a lot of children living in a minimum wage family household. And if you think about it, right now in our public schools across the state, there are 500,000 children. So 1 in 5 of our kids who are in our public schools are in families where there's a minimum wage worker. So this is a very impactful change to go from $15 to $15.69.
It truly is. Every single cent when you're at that level of income makes a huge difference. And it's just a really necessary thing that we're doing. It shows progress in our society. It shows recognition for all the people in the state of Connecticut. And that's why I am so pleased, because I think that is a huge help to a community like Windham, where we have lots and lots of people who are minimum wage workers, and we have a lot of we have so many low-income people in our school system that it would cost too much money to figure out who would actually have to pay for the lunch, so the whole school gets the free lunch. So
absolutely. And we talked about the earned income tax credit increase from 30.5% to 40%, but I think we should also talk about the tax relief that we will see as a result of the tax package that we passed, because, again, this tax cut is the biggest income tax cut that we've seen in our state since the income tax was adopted in 1990. And the people who are at the 3% rate will be lowered to 2%, and those that were at the 5% rate are going to go down to 4.5%. So the benefits are going to be capped at those single filers for $150,000 and for joint filers that make up to $300,000. So this is a tax cut that is going to impact working families, middle-class families. So 60% of all of our taxpayers, or 1.1 million tax filers, are going to get a tax cut. So I think we had a really, really great tax package, and we appreciate your support, Representative Johnson. We appreciate Senator Flexer's support of that tax cut.
Thank you so much for that, and we appreciate all the hard work that your executive branch is doing to analyze our state, to see where the best, where these things will go, and how to make sure everybody benefits from this. Instead of a few people, everybody is getting a little something, and that is absolutely fabulous. Very, very good.
Well, our goal was to try to make Connecticut more affordable, and one of the ways we did that was to provide the earned income tax credit and also to provide the income tax cut. But we should also, because I think you were raising issues of child poverty, and I think another really exciting thing is baby bonds.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so it means that our babies born to low-income families are going to have $3,000 deposited into an account in their name so that when they become 18, they will be able to use the money that accrues, and so that could be more than $20,000+ for job training, for education, to make a down payment on a home, and so that is to put into a retirement account. So that is something that is going to also help uplift our families.
Absolutely, and that goes for any baby that was where Medicaid paid for the birth of the child. That's where the money will be put away and saved, and that will give children the hope of being able to get something post-secondary high school. So it's just it's a very excellent thing to have that hope, because we know that we are living in a very complicated society today, and if people want to be able to, grow a family and have a house and that sort of thing, they have to be able to start up with some funds so that they can get whatever it is that they're good at, a certification or a degree, something that'll help them move forward so they can start a career, start a way of making a good income. And this baby bonds is the way to move forward. I'm very excited about this because child poverty is a problem all throughout the country, and it's a problem here in Connecticut as well. And so I was very, very happy to support the baby bonds. And I just want to go back to the Earned Income Tax Credit for a second, because I want to make sure everybody knows that they have to file an income tax, because sometimes you're not required to if your income's that low. But nevertheless, when your income is low, if you file for that income tax, and the state and federal level, you will get Earned Income Tax Credit money back. And we have
that could be $750 to $1,000. That it could be significant. And Susan, you and I have been to Vita sites in Windham.
Yes.
And what's a Vita site? It is volunteer income tax assistance. So if you're like me and you dread filling out your income tax form, there are fabulous volunteers. Usually they're accountants who volunteer their time to help others do this. And you can go to a Vita site. You can make an appointment and talk to a volunteer via Zoom if you like, or in person. You can, bring your documents with you, and they will do your taxes right then and there. And so, I wanted to let everybody know that you can have free income tax assistance if you are income limited. So don't assume you've got to pay to go get your EITC. You just can get assistance with Vita. And remind folks the location in Windham.
And so far, it's always been held at the library at Windham Heights, and it's been facilitated by the Access Agency and the library at Windham Heights. So they always have the accountants and their students from UConn, students from Eastern that major in accounting, working on these, as volunteers, working
working on submitting these tax forms, and they have the computers and everything set up so people can go and have that work done, and it's done pretty quickly because most of this the people are able to do because the IRS and the state has set up the forms, so they're fairly good for filling out if you're good at that. And you can get the things submitted and then get that money, so you can have the extra money to be able to buy more food, pay your rent, just take care of some clothes for the kids or fix the car, anything that comes up that you might not have had that money for.
Yep, absolutely. And the other thing I want to mention, because you are a college town in Wyndham, you're the home of ECSU, and so many students have college debt, and I want to just let people know that here in Connecticut, we have a debt-free community college program. The legislation was called Pledge to Advance CT, and it's available to first-time degree-seeking in-state students who enroll full-time. You have to fill out a FAFSA form in order to participate, and so far we've had 10,000 students across Connecticut take advantage of debt-free community college. And then once you have that degree, if you want to continue, you can go ahead and continue at one of our wonderful state universities, whether it's ECSU, whether it's UConn, or somewhere else. But I think that's another great thing that the legislature and the governor have done for families in our state.
I'm so excited about the debt-free community college. It's a wonderful program, and it's giving people the chance to start. And you can always, once you get that job that pays the income that you need to, have your place and make your way, you can always go to school part-time and get the next degree and the degree after that. So once
That's right, and a lot of employers are now trying to attract people by saying, hey, we'll pay for you to finish your education. So that is something to keep in mind.
Absolutely, because again, we have a very complicated society. We have technology. We have to be. Used to be where nurses' aides didn't have to have a license. Now they have to have some type of a certification. I mean, no matter where you look, you have to have some kind of training before you're able to go into any job, pretty much. And so this is a way to get a good start in your life. And that I will bring also the fact that I'm very, very pleased with the administration for expanding the temporary assistance for needy families. This is a program that had a lifetime of 21 months, which was the second worst in the country. But now we are at 36 months and also allowing people to get some training and have that count as employment. And so that families can actually get a step up and not have to worry about what's going to happen next. And also we fixed the benefit cliffs and those kinds of things in this program. So if people do make a little bit more than what the federal poverty level was at 55%, and I think it's going to be indexed now, that they will be able to stay on for 6 months and figure out how to get their bearings without any more assistance. So this is a program that the federal government allows 60 months, and I hope at some point in time we'll get to the 60 months, but I'm very thrilled that we got to the 36 months and that we're going to be able to have women is going to, I think, have a mitigating effect on the increase in homelessness, so people can stay in their places and they don't have to worry about being run off in 21 months. So I'm very, very pleased with that.
Thank you, State Representative Susan Johnson, for spearheading that important effort because the TAMP program is designed to take people who may be financially insecure to a place where they have financial stability because with this additional support, they've been able to complete a job training program. They are able to pay for child care while they're finishing their education or their job training. And this is something that is just so important because often people who are in the process of going through job training, they need transportation, they need child care, they need housing. And so what we have tried to do in our state to support workforce development is to put these kinds of supports in place while people are going through some of the many manufacturing programs or healthcare programs that our Governor's Workforce Council has put into place. We've partnered with some of our state's biggest employers to try to make sure that we have a pipeline of people ready to take 77,000 jobs that are open today as we speak. And some of those jobs require training. And so we want to make sure we are doing things like providing child care, like providing additional financial support while people are doing that kind of training and personal development to get themselves to a place of fiscal stability.
It's so very important, and it's will limit the trauma that the little ones go through when they become homeless, because we know for a fact that if we have little homeless children in the school system, they're pretty much focused on the fact that they're homeless, and it's hard for them to learn. So it really creates a problem there. And they end up being maybe special needs, special ed students because of the trauma that they suffered from the homelessness. So it's going to stop a lot of that. We're going to end some of these traumas that the kids are going through, and make sure that we have good support for families, and being a family-friendly state as your administration and our legislature has really wanted to be very family-friendly, and that is what this change does. It makes it so that we're going to fill those jobs. We're going to have people who have that training, and they're going to be able to have kids that are going to be happier.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you that since you brought up our state being family-friendly, and we are consistently one of the states that is recognized as being one of the best states for women and families because of our $15 an hour minimum wage, because of our paid family medical leave program, because of the community college, debt-free community college program. We've really been able to uplift women and families.
These are all fabulous things, and these are things that help businesses. These are the things that businesses look for when they move to a state. They want to make sure they can fill those positions, and we're creating the people who are looking for jobs and will be able to fill the positions with competence, and it will help businesses expand their economies. So this helps us, whether it's on the local level because of the property tax base that you need to have, or in the state level, paying for more income tax, so that the programs that we have to take care of the people in the state are funded. And I have to say, I'm absolutely so proud of the way the budget is being addressed, because we're paying down our debt, and we have a rainy day fund that is the state has never seen such a large rainy day fund. So these are things that really give us a better bond rating, which means when we borrow money, the money isn't going to cost us as much.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I can't let this discussion finish without mentioning also that we support women because we support reproductive rights and freedoms in our state. And that's also why we have we are recognized as being one of the best states for women in our country at a time when there have been a lot of attacks on women's rights.
Exactly. This is something that I think that is more and more, people are becoming more and more aware about the fact that in this country, that we have one of the highest maternal death rates in the world for, you know, a civilized country. And for people to limit access to abortion, which is health care, is putting women at risk. It's stopping them from having children in the future because of the damage that is done to them physiologically if they can't have a doctor take care of a medical need when they're in some dangerous health situation because of a pregnancy that didn't work out. Pregnancies aren't just, they don't just work out like a machine.
Right,
women aren't machines.
Right.
Just saying. And to have these laws.
For sure. For sure.
So to have these laws that limit the doctor's ability to address whatever medical need it is when someone's pregnant or, you know, delivering a baby is just something that is really very, 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 very short-sighted, very, very non-scientific, and it's not a good way to actually run a country or a state. So I'm absolutely thrilled with the fact that in this state we have wonderful, wonderful people who understand that medicine is really good science, and that we need to be able to make sure that women have that relationship with the doctor, that it's private, that we're not going to interfere between the woman and the doctor in these circumstances, because it's really sad in other states, but we are very proud to be in this state where we take care of the women, we take care of the children, we take care of the families. It's very, very, very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I wanted to just mention, too, because I know you were here earlier in June, and you had you've done a great job talking about, elder abuse. And I just think it was very important for us to maybe review a few of those things, because we know technology is calling us older people regularly, trying to scam us out of our funds, and it's really important for us to be able to talk it up and let people know that we have this happening, and it's just another way that we're family friendly, that we're taking care of our seniors, and we're doing that sort of work to help the elders so that they don't lose their funds.
Absolutely. So first of all, elder abuse can be physical abuse, restraining, or even physically assaulting, yelling, threatening. It could be psychological abuse, and then there is financial abuse, because unfortunately, relatives, friends, caregivers sometimes abuse our older adults. And so if you are concerned about that, if you think you've observed it, if you've been a victim, you think your loved one's been a victim, you should call the Elder Justice Hotline, and that number is 860-808-5555. 860-808-5555. And we were talking about this recently, a couple of months ago. We were at the beautiful new senior center
thank you.
in Wyndham, and we brought Mairead Painter, who is one of the people that protects our elder population in the state, And if you call that hotline, there will be an investigation. And oftentimes, since I mentioned financial abuse, I just want to put this on people's radar. There are all kinds of unscrupulous people who are calling your cell phone or your landline constantly. And, some of the things that you should keep in mind: never give any kind of financial information, whether it's your credit card information, whether it's your Social Security information, your personal information, to people that you don't know over the telephone. Because unfortunately, we hear from our Attorney General's office that elderly people who answer their phone are often scammed. And so this financial abuse, unfortunately, is rampant. So do be aware. And, before you hand over any kind of personal information, make sure that you are on your guard, and that and always say, I'll have to discuss it with my bank or with my attorney. And again, I'll give you the hotline again. This is the Elder Abuse Hotline in Connecticut, 860-808-5555. If you have been a victim of abuse or you have a loved one that you believe has been abused.
Thank you so much for that. And I will also, this will be a podcast that will be on YouTube as well. So if you go to the WILI website, you can get this show as a podcast. You can also hear it on cable access in a couple of weeks. Every Friday evening at 8, we have one of our shows come up on cable access. And I also take the podcast and put it on my state website and blast it. And so I'll make sure Press Aid will help me out with putting that number in the introductory remarks as we put the podcast on my website at the Capitol. So we'll be able to do that. We have a couple minutes left. Any last words, Susan? Lieutenant Governor Bysiewicz.
I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your show, and it's a great honor to represent all of the people of Connecticut along with Governor Lamont, and I'm happy to be on your show, Susan, where you had the governor as your first act, and I'm the follow-up. So thank you for thinking of me. It's nice to be with you again.
Well, it's wonderful to have you here on the show, and this is going to be a highly, highly rated show with having the governor and our Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz on. This is a great show, and I plan to show it off and on all the time on my website. Very proud to have you here and very honored, and I want to thank you and the governor for your amazing work taking care of everybody in the state.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Let's Talk About It. Stay tuned next week for another great show. This is Susan Johnson, and have a wonderful week, and see you then.